Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. Kuntres Heichaltzu, 15 minutes to hopefully change your life. Okay, so we were talking about the shiur kelim, and that in the source it wasn't so bad, like from Toyo, but ultimately when Toyo broke down, and because they couldn't get along, cause in this physical world a negative. This is sort of why we have to do all this avodah throughout the world, is because transform it. Yeah, where I think we're near the end of page 64, or in the middle. We'll go from the top. So when you have tikkun, which is the series of bittul, would have bittul, meaning they can. It's not all about themselves. Ikara and bechinas shuv. So therefore, they have this shuv. We said before about this that even though in Torah there's a ratzah in shuv, it's Torah is a very spiritual, holy world, but it's primarily based off self, whereas tikkun is about bittul. Therefore, it has this primary idea of shuv. So ratzah shuv, like we talked about before, is the idea of ratzah is running, is meaning is like when the neshama wants to go up, but in simple sense, it's we want to stay away from the world around us. Sort of, we want to stay spiritual. And the shuv is that we realize we have to be into this world. Hashem wants us to be in this world. He wants us to work. He wants us to make a living. Wants to be friends, eat, sleep, interact with the world in a holy way, of course. But this is the sort of the idea of ratzah shuv. It's like the sons of Aaron, they had ratzah with the shuv. It's all it says, like the story about the Alter Rebbe, that he was learning with the Maggid's, I think it was his son, or Avram the Malach, or maybe, I can't remember who it happened to. I think it was him to Alter Rebbe, that when they finished learning, he had a bagel. It says he has a bagel with butter. Now imagine in those days, that was a very, very hard to come by, butter. And they asked him, why you, we're learning Chassidus, connecting to God, and you're eating bagels with butter? So he said he felt his neshama leaving. So why did he eat? Because he brought the shuv, he brought him back down. He was saying, hey, but I have to be in this world. And this is the idea of ratzah shuv. It's ratzah, if we want to get out of the world, could be like, meaning within ourselves, like we want to, like, rather, like, when you have like a hadith, I just want to dive and learn. I don't want to like deal with it. That's a ratzah, and the shuv is about like I also got to be down in this world. And this is the settledness, the balance, the stability of tikkun. Because it also has the shuv, has the ratzah in the shuv, which says as Toyo only had the ratzah. Shuv means to be settled in a vessel. You do it elsewhere. Meaning, and this is a famous thing the Rebbe said in the last years. He said, "Eris to Toyo and Kalim to Tikkun." A Tikkun has good Kalim. It's organized. It works well. Fits. But the Eris of Toyo is good Eris. The problem with Toyo, it didn't have proper shuv, didn't have proper Kalim. Mishveras HaKalim, the Toyo, and from this Shveras HaKalim, that when the vessels of Toyo broke, unfortunately, as it comes down here, it causes it to have give life to Klippa and things that are totally bad, ra gamor, out of evil. Even though in its source it's very high levels of spirituality. And this is the reason for the separation, because, and that's why we have separation over here, because of what happened over there. And even though, and this is sort of the sad reality, even though in above it could be very good, but as it comes down, it can become very bad. And this is the idea of klipas midyan. Shahu hamada in hariv. This is the clip of midyan, that it's when I have a strife, a riv is like a fight, a contention, The sinas chinam on basis hatred, may Israel from people. When we're not happy with someone, that's where it's coming from. Gam sheloi asaloi shumra klal, and even more, the person didn't do anything to you. Yeah, you could. Yeah, someone is saying it's like the non-kosher animal of markava. I think it's the same idea. Everything of markava is holy, but as it comes down, I think we talked about that. Like the lion in the markava is good, but as it comes down, I have the lion as it is in the physical world. It's not kosher, and it's it can be cruel. Lions can be cruel. Gash alei shemra klal v'loy naga b'chol asher loy v'loy davar v'chatzi davar. He hasn't even touched anything, not even half a thing, nothing. It's like you hate, like unfortunately that you hate someone and they didn't do anything to you. Not even, he said, not even half a thing. I mean, he didn't touch it all. He didn't, like what do you hate them? The gam hu einoi cheresh ra love klal, and he doesn't even have any plan or anything bad on you. And sometimes you see like someone bothers me, it just bothers me. Why? I don't know, it just bothers me. That's what he's talking about. You just can't stand him. You hate him in the ultimate. You can't even speak to the person. His arev imadei b'shum davar. You can't even hang out with them in anything. When they're there, it's like uncomfortable. Let me get out of here. I don't like the person. Even in like a farang or holy things that you're learning a shiur, that person that makes you uncomfortable and it bothers you. That person bothers you. And really there's no reason. And a lot of times you won't even like why? Just like they bother me, And this is the problem. Why? So why does this happen? It's because of our own yeshus that is getting in the way. We don't give space for anyone else. Like we said the story of the chassid that he said, everyone's stepping on me. It's a problem. If someone, so the way I think about this is, think to yourself, is there someone that I don't like, someone that like whatever, and analyze it, or someone that put that like just annoys me, So we justify ourselves within our heads, but I don't really have a good reason a lot of the time. You have to think about this. Like, what did they do to me? Did they do anything wrong? Really? Is that like what? Why? And so we're against them. He doesn't have anything against you. Doesn't barely even knows you. And then we make up all these things in our head, and it bothers us, and they annoy me. And it's like they didn't do anything. Your real complaint, he's saying, is essentially because they exist. Why? Because when it's all about my yeshus, me as a separate entity, so then that entity takes up space. When there's two separate entities in a room, there's less room. Whereas when there's bittul, which is connected to nefesh kiss, so there's always space. So it's all one, all connected. And because this person exists, and this person has an opinion that's not mine, and it's just like the whole thing, it's like gets in the way of me. It's uncomfortable, and like they're saying that, and really your issue is not they did anything. It's just they exist. Why is that an issue? Because of your existence. It takes away from your existence. Therefore, you can't handle them. You don't like them, and they just bother you. And because for sure you can't hang out with them. This is like we find, like in these last generations, like nowadays. When all the Jewish people are found, there's a lot of different opinions of like general ideas of how things should be done. And even more, and you could insert here the argument in Lubavitch between the Meshachistim and the non-Meshachistim. He's talking about like the Rabbanim, and also like we had in Garnetz, unfortunately, the Rabbanim didn't get along for a while, and Sheikhtim, and things about the shul and stuff. This Ached, whereas Baruch Hashem, we are able to misyachid. It seems like the whole Meshachis, non-Meshachis is sort of getting together, figuring it out. But he's saying it's in problems. It's like, and those in Corona, the head of Fabringen of Shluchim, Mer Lazar, he said that the reason why, like, one of the things we need to be working on is coming together. And he says shluchim should make up. A lot of shluchim, especially let's say in Eretz Yisrael, they did it. They got together. The non-meshchistim versus the meshchistim in Eretz Yisrael is a big divide. And I think two of the guys that are like sort of the heads of like Tzach, which is like the branch of Chabad in Eretz Yisrael, they didn't get along. I think one of them was, I'm not sure. Don't quote me. And they didn't, and they weren't getting along for many years. And from Ber Lazar's like Holfering, and they came together for the first time, like 15 years or something, 15, 20 years, crazy amount. That's Ber Lazar himself. He's like the head shtach of like sort of the former USSR, Rashab, but like the big countries over there. And there was one guy who was a shtach there for many years, and I don't know what the story was, but they didn't really get along. Like they didn't talk to each other, and he made up with him. So he's saying, so all these issues that are coming together. And even more is that when someone says, so they say the opposite. One builds, one destroys. And again, meaning the idea here is not to look at someone else and say, oh, I see that guy's doing, I'm building and he's destroying. We have to look within ourselves to see where we're doing these things. And it couldn't, maybe not necessarily exactly in this exact same, but this idea. We have to learn it, understand it, and then see how that relates to me, in what way am I doing this? Meaning in simple way is something my wife, she tells me, you're just arguing. Like anything she's going to say, I'm going to argue. That's what he's saying. Yeah, this one builds, this one is destroying. Everything she says, I'm like arguing. Why? And the truth is, the reason why this happens is because of the distance of hearts, the division of hearts. And he says the opposite. It's not because the mind thinks this way. Meaning it's not that this is my real opinion. He's saying what he's saying, what he wants to say, not because of what it's logical. Could be even illogical what he's saying, but he wants to go against that other person. So whatever that girl's going to say, I'm going to say the opposite. Not necessarily it's conscious. A lot of it's subconscious. But if you realize, a lot of times when you speak to someone, the only thing they want from you is to listen and to understand them. A lot of time we'll listen and we'll say, oh yeah, we all try to find the other side, but you didn't understand that other person is saying, and that's what he's saying. And it's not logical. A person should need you to understand them. Why are you arguing what they're saying? So and why does the person want this such shots? And the only reason why we want this is because of the other person, being a dafkanik, as they say. Whatever you want. I don't want that. I want the other thing, And the general is, I have to be opposites. It's like the meshchis says this, I have to say the opposite. I'm not a meshchis. Like things like this. Everything the meshchis says is like, I have to think about it. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. Like, no, I disagree. To figure out what it is, but I disagree. But really, all this is sauce because of the separation of the heart. We really can't tolerate the other. And therefore, we're in opposition to them. Therefore, because of this, we're fighting on these insignificant details, and we're missing the main point. It's like a meshchis, where we're arguing about, should we say some words, should we not say some words, little details. But the fact is, the Rebbe wants to bring Mashiach. We should be going to bring Mashiach. We should be working together to bring Mashiach. But we're missing that because we're busy arguing. I don't listen to that guy. He has a pin. How can I listen to him? I don't even think about the main issue. Because the main thing is my yeshus. The main thing is our own yeshus. Now your yeshus gets in the way, so we don't even think about the main point, and we're missing everything. And it's like I was by the Siyum Rambam. It was last Sunday, and the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim, he was, I think, Amar, very, very chashiv person, a chashiv yid. very learned, big Talmid Chacham. So he's talking about the Rebbe. And so he said something like I think the Rebbe Zia or something, which is what you say when like for someone that's passed away, or like his marriage should be for us. That's the someone passed away, and he's like a chashiv person. He's not And I heard in the crowd next sounded like I don't know what to call it. What you call it? It's like not whistling, but like making noise, like sort of like, oh, what is he saying? And I was like thinking about like no respect for the guy, like and it's like you're gonna miss his whole speech because of 3 words that he says, He's saying and realize that when we do those things and we're not able to hit the point because we're busy bothered about things that isn't significant, it's coming from our own yeshus. And the Chassidus is showing us, I was trying to show us here that our yeshus is a problem. Our yeshus, remember, yeshus meaning the feeling of separateness from our nefesh l'kis and ultimately separateness from everyone. And not just it separates us, but it gets in the way. And when we can't have good relationships, we can't connect with people, we can't listen to people, we can't understand people, we can't get along, we don't have unity in the community, we don't have unity in society around us, unity in your family, and the source of this is yeshus. And yeshus, a lot of time we don't realize, but we live off yeshus. This is who I am, this is what I need, this is me. But it isn't, and it's not true you, and it's the part of you that's taking you away. That's the part of you that tells you to make the bad decisions that you listen to constantly. And you're like, why am I doing that? Like, why am I going to bed late every night if I'm exhausted the next day? That's the yeshus. But I need to do this and I need to do that. And that I is not the healthy I. The healthy I is an nefesh l'kis. An nefesh l'kis wants to go about on time. He wants to be friendly with the other person. He wants to love the person, irrelevant. Yeah, kitzur. We could go on this for a long time, but he'll talk about a lot of this. Kitzur. Hefresh, the sphere is the tikkun and toyu. We talked about the difference between toyu and tikkun. We said toyu also had, remember toyu in the source is very holy, and also had ratzeh, but it was his own ratzeh. It was this wanting to get close to God, was for its own sake. And didn't have really a shuv, and that's why it got broken. Whereas toyu comes with a lot of kalim, and it has the shuv. So we're trying to realize what was its purpose, and was able to do it. Bittul v'yeshus, and we discussed how the difference in the bittul and the yeshus, like we just talking about the shuv, ratzah, like we said before, the yeshus, siba leperud, the sinas chinam, and the yeshus and our own feeling of separateness causes a separation and basis hatred. Just a quick story before we finish. That when I was a few years ago. So whatever, it was like maybe 5 years ago. It was a Tishrei time. I was in 770, and so Tishrei time. All these bachim come. A lot of them come from like overseas in Eretz Yisrael. And I remember this. Something I never forget. I saw 2 guys. Like one guy walking. He had like a Danish, and you could tell it was like this is like his breakfast. Unfortunately, a lot of them they don't they have meals set up, but it doesn't always work out. I don't know what the story is. But like you could tell, like he wasn't eating much, And I was here years ago as a bacher, and you don't always necessarily eat so much. Especially they come here, they don't have money. And so he come and he saw his friend, like, hey, how you doing? Whatever. And he walked off. And then I saw him look at his Danish, and he was sort of like contemplating something. Then he came back to his friend and he said to him, Yesh ochel? He's like, you have some food? And the guy's like, no. So he goes, yeah, and he took half of it and he gave it to him. And I was like blown away. Like he literally gave him half his breakfast, and between you, Danish for breakfast is not really that filling. It's not going to last that long. And even that whatever he had, he gave half. And this is and how is he? Yeah, and how is he able to do this? It's because it doesn't have the yeshus. The yeshus is like my Danish. I need it. I went to a bar mitzvah yesterday, and there was like all the bar mitzvah boys. It was very funny. And at one point, the musician goes, and now dessert is served, and the dessert has been served for a while already. And these kids, they stopped and they ran, they pushed past everyone. I saw them push, like this kid bumped the father of the bar mitzvah boy. It's like, but it didn't even like say sorry, nothing, just like ran. And this is that's like sort of the opposite extreme. But but that story with the kid knows, it was beautiful. but the way you're able to do that is because is the bittul, and we're one. Like my friends are hungry, I'm like it bothers me. That's how we have to try to do that. When you have your friends, how their life's going, when they're going through a struggle, it's our struggle. Anyway, to be continued tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining.